The stars outside the window never changed. They hung in the black sky like tiny dots of white paint, cold and far away. Lyra pressed her small hand against the glass and watched them. She had been watching them for a very long time. Outpost Kira 7 was quiet. It was always quiet now. The machines hummed and clicked as they worked to keep the air clean and the lights on. But there were no voices, no footsteps, no laughter, just Lyra and the endless silence of space. She was 6 years old, though she had stopped counting the days long ago. Her skin was pale blue, almost white, like all Malorans. Her eyes were large and round, glowing softly with a gentle silver light. She was small, even for her age, her thin arms wrapped around her knees as she sat by the window, looking out at nothing. 3 cycles had passed since the bad day. That was what she called it in her mind. The bad day when the ships came. The bad day when her mother told her to hide. The bad day when she heard screaming and then heard nothing at all. The raiders had come for the station's resources. They took what they wanted and left. They did not know a child was hiding in the walls. They did not care. When Lyra finally came out of her hiding place, she found the station empty. Her parents were gone. Everyone was gone. She searched every room, every corridor, every corner. She called out until her throat hurt, but no one answered. The machines kept her alive. They made food from the supplies in storage. They cleaned the water. They kept the temperature warm enough for her small body. But machines could not hold her when she cried. Machines could not tell her stories before sleep. Machines could not make her feel less alone. Lyra learned to survive. She learned which buttons made food appear. She learned how to check the air filters like her father used to do. She learned to fix small things when they broke. But she never learned how to stop feeling empty inside. Days passed, weeks, months. She lost track. Time meant nothing when every day was the same. Wake up, eat, walk through empty halls, look out the window, sleep, dream of her mother's voice, wake up alone again. Sometimes she talked to herself just to hear a voice. Sometimes she pretended her parents were in the next room, working on their research. Sometimes she made up friends and had conversations with them. But the pretending always ended, and the silence always returned. Today felt different somehow. Lyra did not know why. She woke up with a strange feeling in her chest. Not quite hope. Not quite fear. Something in between. She decided to explore. There was one place on the station she had never entered. A cargo bay near the back, sealed with a heavy door. Her mother had told her never to go there. It's not for children, she had said. When you're older, maybe, but her mother was not here anymore. And Lyra was tired of following rules that no longer mattered. She walked through the corridors, her bare feet making soft sounds on the metal floor. The lights flickered as she passed. Some of them had stopped working. The station was slowly dying, just like everything else. The cargo bay door was big and gray. Lyra stood in front of it for a long moment. Her heart beat faster. She did not know what she would find inside. Maybe nothing. Maybe something terrible. But she had to know. She pressed the button. The door groaned and scraped as it opened. The air inside was stale and dusty. Lyra stepped in carefully, her eyes adjusting to the dim light. The room was full of crates. Big ones. Small ones. All stacked in rows. Most of them were marked with Maloran symbols. Mining equipment. Medical supplies. Food rations. Nothing special, but one crate was different. It sat alone in the corner, covered in dust. The symbols on its side were strange. Not Maloran. Something else. Lyra walked toward it, her curiosity pulling her forward. She wiped the dust away with her hand and looked at the writing. Earth, humanitarian aid. She did not know what Earth was. She did not know what humanitarian meant. But something about the crate called to her. She had to open it. The latches were stiff, but she managed to pull them loose. The lid creaked as she pushed it up. Inside, she found things she had never seen before. There were books with colorful pictures. Strange flat things with pages that turned. She picked one up and looked at the images. Small creatures with round ears and long tails. Green plants and blue water. Beings that looked almost like Malorans but with different colored skin. Pink and brown and tan. There were soft blankets made of material she did not recognize. She touched one, and it felt warm against her fingers. There were small boxes that made sounds when she shook them. And there, at the bottom of the crate, was something that made her stop breathing. It was a small creature. Not alive, but not quite dead either. It was soft and brown, with round ears and black eyes made of something shiny. It had arms and legs that flopped loosely. It was the size of her hand. Lyra picked it up slowly. It was the softest thing she had ever touched. Softer than her mother's hair. Softer than the blankets on her bed. She held it close to her face and felt something warm spread through her chest. She did not know what it was, but she knew it was special. She looked through the books again, searching for a picture that matched. And there, on one of the pages, she found it. A creature just like the one in her hands. Below it was a word she could not read properly, but she tried to sound it out. Bear, she whispered. Teddy bear. She held it against her chest and felt tears running down her face. She did not know why she was crying. She was not sad. Or maybe she was. Maybe she was sad and happy at the same time. Maybe she was feeling something she had not felt in so long that she forgot what it was. She was not alone anymore. She had a friend. I will call you Tay, she said softly. The word came from one of the books. She did not know what it meant, but it felt right. Hello, Tay. My name is Lyra. I am going to take care of you now. She walked back to her room, holding Tay against her heart. The station was still quiet. The stars outside were still cold and far away. But something had changed. For the first time in 3 cycles, Lyra smiled. That night, she slept with Tay in her arms. She dreamed of green plants and blue water. She dreamed of the strange beings from the books. She dreamed of a place called Earth, where someone had made this small, soft creature and sent it across the stars. She did not know who they were. She did not know why they had done it. But she whispered a thank you into the darkness before she fell asleep. Somewhere out there, someone had thought of children they would never meet. Someone had packed toys and books and blankets into a crate and sent them into the unknown. Someone had cared, and now, on a forgotten station at the edge of nowhere, a lonely little girl held that care in her arms and felt, for the first time in a very long time, that maybe the universe was not so empty after all. The days after finding Tay were the best Lyra had known in a very long time. She carried the small bear everywhere she went. She talked to him while she ate her meals. She showed him every part of the station. She read him stories from the picture books, making up the words she could not understand. This is the food room, she would say, pointing at the machines. The food is not very good, but it keeps us strong. You have to eat, Tay. Even if you do not like it. She made a small bed for Tay next to her own. She wrapped him in one of the soft blankets from the crate. At night, she told him about her parents. About her mother's gentle hands. About her father's deep laugh. About the life she had before the bad day. Tay never answered, of course. But somehow, that did not matter. Having someone to talk to, even someone who could not speak back, made the silence less heavy. Made the loneliness less sharp. Lyra started to hope again. Maybe someone would come. Maybe a ship would find the station. Maybe she would not have to be alone forever. She held Tay close and let herself dream of rescue. But the universe was not done being cruel. It happened on a morning like any other. Lyra was sitting in the control room, looking at the blinking lights on the panels. She did not understand most of them. But her father had taught her a few things. He had shown her how to read the basic screens, how to check if the station was working properly. One screen showed things outside the station. Her father had called it the sensor display. It watched the space around them, looking for ships or rocks or anything that might come close. Lyra looked at it every day. It was always empty, just darkness and distant stars. But today, there were lights on the screen. Small dots moving toward the station. Ships. Her heart jumped. Ships meant people. People meant rescue. She felt excitement rush through her body. She held Tay up to the screen. "Look, Tay, someone is coming. We are going to be saved." But then she looked more carefully. She studied the shapes of the dots. She remembered what her mother had taught her about reading the sensors. Different ships had different shapes on the screen. These shapes were familiar, too familiar. Her excitement turned to ice in her stomach. She knew these ships. She had seen them on this very screen, 3 cycles ago. Right before the bad day, the raiders were coming back. Lyra began to shake. Her hands trembled so badly she almost dropped Tay. Memories flooded her mind. The sounds of weapons. The screaming. Her mother's face, pale with fear. Pushing her into the hiding place. The silence that came after. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." She grabbed Tay and ran. She did not know where she was going. She just ran through the corridors. Her breath coming in short gasps. Her feet slapped against the metal floor. Her eyes burned with tears. They were coming back. They would find her this time. They would hurt her like they hurt her parents. She had no one to protect her. No one to help her. She was just a small girl, alone on a dying station. She found herself in her parents' old room. She had not come here often. It hurt too much. But now she fell onto their bed and cried into their pillow, clutching Tay so tightly her arms hurt. "I am scared, Tay," she sobbed. "I am so scared. What do I do? What do I do?" She cried until she could not cry anymore. Then she lay still, her face wet, her body tired. She looked at Tay's black, shiny eyes. He seemed to look back at her with something like calm, and then she remembered. Her mother had shown her something once. A special panel in the control room. An emergency beacon, she had called it. If something very bad happens, her mother had said, "You press this button. It sends a message far, far away. Someone might hear it. Someone might come to help." Lyra had asked why they did not use it when the raiders came. Her mother had looked sad. "There was no time," she had whispered. "It all happened so fast." But now there was time. The ships were still far away. The sensors said they would arrive in many hours. She could send a message. She could ask for help. Maybe no one would hear. Maybe no one would come. But she had to try. She got up slowly. Her legs felt weak, but she made them move. She walked back to the control room. Tay held tightly against her chest. She found the panel her mother had shown her. It was covered in dust. No one had touched it in a very long time. She wiped the dust away. There was a big red button and a small screen with a microphone symbol. Her mother had explained how it worked. Press the button. Speak into the panel. The station would send her voice out into space. Lyra pressed the button. A light turned green. The machine hummed softly. She did not know what to say. She did not know who might hear. But she opened her mouth and let the words come from her heart. "Please," she said, her voice small and shaky. "Please. Someone help me. My name is Lyra. I am on a station called Kira 7. I am alone. My parents are gone. There are bad ships coming. They hurt everyone before. They will hurt me too." She paused. Tears ran down her face again. "I am very scared. I do not want to die. I do not want to be alone anymore. Please, if anyone can hear me, please come. Please help." She looked down at Tay. His soft face looked back at her. "Tay is scared too," she added quietly. "He is my only friend. I found him in a box from a place called Earth. I do not know where that is. But if there are people there, maybe they are kind. Maybe they will help us." Her voice broke. "Please, someone, anyone. I am just a little girl. I do not know what to do. Please help me. Please." She let go of the button. The light turned red. The message was sent. Lyra sank to the floor, her back against the wall. She held Tay to her face and cried softly. She did not know if anyone had heard. She did not know if anyone would come. The raiders would arrive in hours. She had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. All she could do was wait and hope. The hours passed slowly. Lyra found her old hiding place, the small space inside the walls where she had survived before. She crawled inside with Tay and some food and water. She made herself as small as possible. She could hear her own heartbeat in the silence. She could feel time passing like a heavy weight on her chest. "It will be okay, Tay," she whispered, though she did not believe it. "Someone will come. Someone heard us. We just have to be brave. We just have to wait." But deep inside, she felt the cold truth. No one had come before. No one had looked for her in 3 cycles. The galaxy was big and dark and full of dangers. Why would anyone care about one small girl on a forgotten station? She closed her eyes and held Tay close. If this was the end, at least she was not completely alone. At least she had her small friend. At least she had tried. Far across the stars, her message traveled through the void. A small voice. A frightened child. A simple plea for help. And somewhere in the darkness, someone was listening. The HSV Resolve was a warship. Not the biggest in the human fleet, but strong and fast. It patrolled the outer edges of human space, watching for threats, protecting the colonies that lived far from the safe center of civilization. Captain Una Park stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. She was a woman of 42 years, with short black hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. Her face was calm, but there was steel underneath. She had fought pirates. She had faced alien raiders. She had buried friends and kept fighting. Tonight was quiet. The ship moved smoothly through space. The crew worked at their stations, checking systems, monitoring sensors. Everything was normal. Then the communication officer spoke up. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission. Unknown origin. Very weak signal." Una turned. "Can you clean it up?" "Trying now, Captain." The bridge fell silent as the officer worked. Static crackled through the speakers. Then, slowly, a voice emerged. Small. Frightened. Young. "Please. Someone help me. My name is Lyra. I am on a station called Kira 7. I am alone." Everyone stopped what they were doing. Every person on the bridge turned to listen. The voice continued, broken by static but clear enough to understand. "Bad ships coming. They hurt everyone before. They will hurt me too. I am very scared. I do not want to die." Una felt something tighten in her chest. She had heard many distress calls in her years of service. But something about this one was different. The voice was so small, so alone. "Tay is scared too. He is my only friend. I found him in a box from a place called Earth." The captain's eyes widened. Earth. That was humanity's home. Whatever this child had found, it had come from her people. "I am just a little girl. I do not know what to do. Please help me, please." The transmission ended. The bridge was silent. Commander Taeho Shin, the first officer, was the first to speak. He was a tall man with a serious face, loyal and dependable. That was a child. An alien child, from the voice pattern. She mentioned Kira 7. "That is in the Valen Expanse." Minho Kang, the tactical officer, pulled up a star map. Valen Expanse is deep in contested space. Skrell territory. We would have to cross several hostile zones to reach it. Hana Cho, the ship's medic, stepped forward. Her voice was soft but firm. "Did you hear what she said? She is alone. Her parents are gone. Raiders are coming for her. She is a child." "I heard," Minho said. "I also heard that she found something from Earth. A teddy bear, probably. From the humanitarian aid shipments we sent out decades ago." Una stood very still. She looked at the frozen image on the screen, a visual that the communication officer had managed to capture from the transmission. A small figure with pale blue skin and large silver eyes, and in her arms, clutched tightly against her chest, was a brown teddy bear. A toy made on Earth. A toy meant to comfort a child in need. And somehow, across the vast distances of space, it had found its way to this little girl. The Skrell, Tejo said quietly. If they are the ones returning, they will not show mercy. They never do. Mark. Minho shook his head. Captain, I understand the desire to help, but this is not our space. We would be outnumbered. We would be risking the entire crew for one child. The smart choice is to forward the message to Command and let them decide. By the time Command decides, that child will be dead, Hana said sharply. Minho looked uncomfortable. I know, but we have to think about our own people too. Yuna raised her hand. The argument stopped. She walked slowly to the communication console. She looked at the image of the little girl for a long moment. Then, she spoke. I became a captain to protect people. Not just humans. People. Beings who cannot protect themselves. Beings who need help. She turned to face her crew. That child reached out across the stars because she had no one else. She asked the universe for help. And we heard her. Tejo nodded slowly. What are your orders, Captain? Yuna took a deep breath. We are going, but I will not command you to follow. This is not an official mission. This is a choice. Anyone who wants to stay behind can transfer to one of the relay stations. No judgment. No shame. She looked around the bridge. No one moved. No one spoke. Then Hana stepped forward. I am with you, Captain. Tejo followed. And I. Minho sighed heavily. Then he smiled slightly. Someone has to keep you all alive. I am in. One by one, the bridge crew voiced their support. Yuna felt her heart swell with pride. These were good people. Brave people. But she knew the resolve alone might not be enough. She turned to the communication console and opened a broadband channel. This would reach every human ship within range. Dozens of vessels, maybe more. This is Captain Yuna Park of the HSV Resolve, she said, her voice steady and clear. I am sending a distress call we received tonight. Please listen. She played the recording. Lyra's small voice filled the channel, echoing across the void to every ship that could hear. When it finished, Yuna spoke again. That child is alone. She has no one. Raiders are coming to kill her. I am going to help her. I am not ordering anyone to follow. This is not official. This is not sanctioned. This is just me. Asking anyone who hears this to make a choice. She paused. If you believe that some things matter more than orders, more than safety, more than common sense, then come with me. If you believe that when a child cries out for help, someone should answer, then come with me. She took a breath. I do not know if we will survive. I do not know if we will succeed. But I know this. That little girl asked for help, and I am going to give it. Anyone who wants to stand with me, set course for Kira 7. We leave in 6 hours. She closed the channel. The bridge was silent. Then the communication console began to light up. Responses were coming in. Ships were answering. Captain, the communication officer said, his voice full of wonder. We are receiving confirmations. The cargo ship Dawn's Light. The patrol vessel Iron Hand. The medical frigate Mercy's Wing. They are all coming. More lights. More responses. The mining ship Deep Rock. The passenger liner Star of Soul. They are evacuating passengers and retrofitting weapons. They say they will meet us at the jump point. Yuna watched the console light up like a festival display. Ship after ship was answering the call. Fighters, cruisers, cargo haulers, private vessels, military ships whose captains were willing to risk their careers for a child they had never met. By the time the 6 hours had passed, 500 ships had gathered at the jump point. 500 captains, 500 crews, thousands of humans, from all walks of life, ready to cross hostile space for a single alien girl. Tejo stood beside Yuna, looking at the fleet on the view screen. I have never seen anything like this, he said quietly. Yuna smiled slightly. This is what we are, she said. This is what humans do. When someone calls for help, we answer. All of us. Every time. She raised her hand to give the order. All ships, this is Captain Park. Jump to Kira 7. Let us bring that child home. The fleet jumped as one, vanishing into the light, racing toward a forgotten station at the edge of nowhere. 500 warriors had answered the call, and they would not let a little girl face the darkness alone. They came from everywhere. Ships of every size and shape. From every corner of human space. They came not because they were ordered. They came because they chose to. Lieutenant Ji-hoon Baek was drinking coffee in the pilot lounge of Orbital Station 7 when the message came through. He was a fighter pilot, one of the best in the sector. His squadron had 12 ships, fast and deadly. They were supposed to be on rest leave after a long patrol. Ji-hoon listened to the little girl's voice. He heard her fear. He heard her loneliness. He heard her mention the teddy bear from Earth. He put down his coffee and stood up. Everyone, he said to his pilots. I am going to do something stupid. I am going to fly into Skrell territory to save a child I have never met. No orders. No pay. Probably no medals. Probably just a lot of danger. Anyone who wants to join me, meet at the hangar in 1 hour. All 12 pilots showed up. Sergeant Eun-ji Yoon was training new Marines on Combat Station Delta when she heard the broadcast. She was a ground combat specialist, hard as steel, with scars on her arms from battles she rarely talked about. She had seen the worst of war. She had seen what raiders did to the innocent. When the message ended, she stood before her trainees. That mission is not for you, she said. You are not ready for that kind of fight. But I am going. Anyone here with full combat experience who wants to come with me? Step forward now. 30 Marines stepped forward, 10 from her own station, 20 who transferred from 2 other bases nearby. They knew the risks. They did not care. Chief Engineer Do-hyun Lim was fixing the engine of his repair vessel. The steady hand. When the call came through. He was an old man by space standards. 63 years old, with gray hair and hands that shook slightly from decades of working with tools. He had never fired a weapon in his life. He was not a soldier, but he had a ship, and he had skills. He contacted Captain Yuna Park directly. Captain, I heard your message. I cannot fight, but I can fix things. In a battle, ships get damaged. I can keep them flying. If you want me, I will come. Yuna's voice was warm. I want you, Engineer Lim. Thank you. Do-hyun powered up his ship and set course for the gathering point. He was scared, but he knew his hands could save lives, even if they could not hold a gun. The fleet gathered at a point in empty space, far from any station or planet. 500 ships hung in the darkness, their lights blinking like a field of stars. It was a strange sight. Military vessels next to civilian ships, warships next to cargo haulers, sleek fighters next to bulky transports. They had nothing in common except one thing. They had all heard a child's cry and decided to answer. On the Resolve, Captain Yuna Park looked at the fleet on her view screen. She felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. These people had come because of her call. Their lives were in her hands. Taeho stood beside her. It is time to address them, he said quietly. Yuna nodded. She activated the fleet-wide channel. This is Captain Yuna Park. I want to thank all of you for coming. I know what you are risking. Your ships, your lives, your careers. Some of you have families waiting at home. Some of you have never seen combat. But you came anyway. She paused, gathering her thoughts. I want to be clear about what we are facing. The Skrell raiders are ruthless. They take what they want and destroy what they do not need. There are 18 of their ships heading for Kira 7. We outnumber them, but many of our ships are not built for war. We will have the advantage of surprise. We will have numbers, but we will not have an easy fight. She looked at the image of Lyra that was displayed on her screen. The small girl with the silver eyes, holding her teddy bear. Some of you might wonder why we are doing this. One child. One alien child. Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the danger? She shook her head slowly. I cannot answer that for you. I can only tell you why I am here. She touched the image on the screen. Somewhere on Earth, a long time ago, someone made a teddy bear. They did not know where it would go. They did not know who would hold it, but they made it with care, and they sent it into the universe, hoping it would bring comfort to someone who needed it. Her voice grew stronger. That is what humanity does. We create things. We give things. We help people we will never meet. We do not ask if they deserve it. We do not calculate if it is worth it. We just do it, because that is who we are. She raised her head high. That little girl found our gift. She held it close when she was scared. She called it her friend. And when danger came, she reached out to the stars and asked for help. She does not know who we are. She does not know we are coming. But we heard her, and we answered. The fleet was silent, listening. I do not expect everyone to survive this mission. I do not promise glory or reward. But I promise you this. When we reach that station, we will fight. We will fight for a child who has no one else. We will fight because it is right. And we will show the galaxy what humanity is made of. She straightened her shoulders. All ships, prepare for combat. We jump in 2 hours. Fighters will lead the assault. Combat ships will engage the raiders. Medical and repair vessels will stay back and support. Everyone else, do what you can. Every ship matters. Every person matters. She smiled slightly. One more thing. When we get there, when we have won, I want that little girl to know one thing. She asked for help, and 500 warriors answered. Let us make sure she never forgets it. The channel closed. But across the fleet, the response was immediate. On his fighter, Ji-hoon Baek checked his weapons one more time. You heard the captain, he told his squadron. We go in first. We hit hard. We give the big ships time to engage. No heroics, no stupid risks. We fly smart, and we fly together. On the transport carrying the Marines, Eun Ji-yoon addressed her soldiers. Our job is to get on that station and find the child. Protect her at all costs. The raiders will probably try to take hostages. We do not let that happen. Move fast. Stay quiet. Bring her out safe. On the steady hand, Do-hyun Lim prepared his repair drones. His hands were steady now. The shaking had stopped. He had a purpose. He had a reason to be here. Across the fleet, 500 crews prepared for battle. Some prayed. Some wrote messages to loved ones. Some simply sat in silence, thinking about what they were about to do. They were not all soldiers. They were not all brave. Some were scared. Some were uncertain. But they were all there. 2 hours passed quickly. Captain Yuna Park stood on her bridge, surrounded by her crew. Taeho was at her side. Minho was at the tactical station. Hana was ready in the medical bay. All ships report ready, the communication officer announced. Yuna looked at the fleet one more time. 500 ships, thousands of humans, all for one little girl. Begin jump sequence, she ordered. The stars stretched and blurred. The ships leaped forward, crossing vast distances in an instant. The darkness of space folded around them, and then opened again. They emerged at Kira 7. The station was there, small and dark against the stars. And surrounding it, like wolves around a wounded animal, were the Skrell raider ships. The battle was about to begin. The Skrell raiders never saw them coming. They had expected easy pickings. A dead station. Abandoned resources. Maybe a few machines to salvage. They had done this many times before. They knew the Valen expanse was empty. No one came here. No one cared about forgotten outposts in the middle of nowhere. They were wrong. 500 human ships dropped out of hyperspace behind them. Weapons already charging. Fighters already launching. For a moment, the Skrell captains could not believe what they were seeing. Their sensors lit up with contacts. Dozens. Hundreds. An entire fleet where there should have been nothing. Captain Unipark's voice rang across all channels. All ships. Engage. Protect the station. Show them what happens when they threaten our children. Lieutenant Ji-hoon Baek led the fighter assault. His squadron dove toward the Skrell ships like arrows from a bow. Their weapons blazed bright in the darkness. "Target their engines first," Ji-hoon ordered. "Do not let them run. Do not let them reach the station. Keep them busy." The Skrell tried to respond, but they were caught off guard. Their formation was loose, their crews unprepared. They had come for salvage, not battle. Now they were fighting for their lives. The larger human ships moved in behind the fighters. The Resolve took point, its weapons hammering at the nearest raider. Minho Kang called out targets from the tactical station, his voice steady despite the chaos. 2 raiders moving left, 3 breaking for open space, 4 heading toward the station. "Stop the ones going for the station," Yuna commanded. "That is our priority. Nothing gets past us." The battle spread across the void like fire. Energy beams cut through the darkness. Ships twisted and turned, dodging and shooting. Explosions bloomed silent and bright against the black. The human fleet had numbers, but the Skrell had experience. They were raiders, pirates, hunters. They had fought many battles and won most of them. They began to organize, to fight back. One of Ji-hoon's pilots took a hit. His fighter spun out of control. Trailing smoke. "Sora is hit," someone called on the radio. "Sora, can you hear me?" Ji-hoon shouted. A weak voice responded. "Engine is gone. Life support failing. I cannot make it back." Ji-hoon's heart clenched. But he could not stop. The battle was too fierce. "Hold on, Sora. Someone will pick you up. Just hold on." Across the battlefield, Do-hyun Lim's repair vessel moved between the damaged ships. His drones flew out like a swarm of metal bees, patching holes, rerouting power, keeping vessels alive. His old hands worked the controls with skill born from decades of experience. "Steady hand to damaged fighters. Move to these coordinates. I will keep you flying." He saved 3 pilots in the first 10 minutes. His ship had no weapons, but it kept the fleet in the fight. Meanwhile, the transport carrying Sergeant Eun Ji-yoon's Marines pushed toward the station. 2 Skrell ships tried to block them. The escort vessels engaged, buying time. "We need to dock," Eun-ji told the pilot. "Get us close. We will handle the rest." The transport shook as enemy fire grazed its hull. Warning lights flashed. But the pilot held steady, pushing through the chaos until they reached the station's airlock. "Go, go, go," Eun-ji shouted. The Marines poured out of the transport, their boots hitting the station floor. They moved in formation, weapons ready, covering every angle. "Spread out," Eun-ji ordered. "Find the child. Check every room, every corner. She is hiding somewhere. She is scared. Be gentle when you find her." The station was dark and quiet. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. The Marines moved through corridors that had been empty for years. They passed sealed doors and broken panels. They found signs of the old attack, damage that had never been repaired. "Life signs are weak," one Marine reported, checking a scanner. "Small heat signature. Section 7. Near the maintenance tunnels." "That is where we go," Eun-ji said. Outside, the battle raged on. 3 human ships were destroyed in the first 20 minutes. Dozens more were damaged. But the Skrell were losing worse. The humans pressed them hard, giving them no room to breathe. Ji-hoon's squadron had lost 2 fighters, but they had taken down 4 raider ships. The pilot, called Sora, had been rescued by a cargo ship that swung in close enough to scoop up his escape pod. "Keep the pressure on," Ji-hoon called. "They are breaking. Do not let them recover." On the Resolve, Captain Yuna watched the battle unfold. Her ship had taken several hits. One deck was venting atmosphere. But her crew worked without stopping, sealing breaches, rerouting power, keeping the weapons firing. "How many raiders left?" she asked. 9 still fighting, Minho reported. "The others are either destroyed or retreating. Do not let the retreating ones regroup. Chase them. Drive them away." Inside the station, Eun-ji's team reached Section 7. They moved carefully through the narrow corridors, flashlights cutting through the darkness. "Here," a Marine whispered, pointing to a ventilation shaft. The cover had been removed. Small footprints marked the dust on the floor. Unji motioned for the others to stay back. She crouched down and looked into the shaft. Deep inside, she could see a small figure pressed against the back wall. Silver eyes glowed in the darkness. "Hello," Unji said softly. "My name is Unji. I am here to help you." The figure did not move. Unji could hear quick, frightened breathing. "You sent a message," Unji continued, keeping her voice gentle. "We heard you. We came a very long way to find you. You are safe now. The bad people cannot hurt you." A small voice emerged from the darkness. "You came for me?" "Yes. 500 of us. Ships full of people who wanted to help. But why? I am nobody. I am just a little girl." Unji smiled, though the child probably could not see it. "That is exactly why. You asked for help. And humans always answer when children ask for help." Silence. Then, slowly, the small figure began to move forward. Unji saw pale blue skin, large silver eyes, thin trembling limbs, and clutched against the child's chest, a brown teddy bear with worn fur and shiny black eyes. Lyra crawled out of the shaft. She looked up at Unji with wonder and fear and hope all mixed together. Is Tay safe too?" she whispered. Unji knelt down so she was at eye level with the child. "Tay is safe. You are both safe. We are going to take you somewhere warm, where no one will ever hurt you again." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She reached out with one small hand and touched Unji's face, as if checking to see if she was real. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Unji wrapped the child in a protective embrace. She felt Lyra's thin body shaking with sobs. She felt the teddy bear pressed between them. "Marines," she said into her radio. "I have the child. She is safe. Repeat, the child is safe." The message went out to the fleet. Captain Yuna heard it on the bridge. She closed her eyes for a moment and let out a breath she did not know she had been holding. "All ships," she announced. "The child is secure. Finish this." The final Skrull raiders tried to flee, but the human fleet was relentless. They pursued and destroyed ship after ship until only 2 remained. Those 2 jumped to hyperspace and vanished, running for their lives. The battle was over. Around the station, debris floated in the void. Human ships and Skrull ships both. The cost had been high. 3 human ships destroyed. Dozens dead. Many more injured, but they had won. And somewhere on that old, forgotten station, a little girl was being carried to safety, a teddy bear in her arms, and tears of joy on her face. 500 warriors had answered her call, and they had not let her down. The medical bay of the Resolve was quiet now. The rush of battle had ended hours ago. The wounded had been treated. The dead had been counted. Now there was only the soft hum of machines and the steady beep of monitors. Lyra lay on a small bed in the corner of the bay. The sheets were clean and white, softer than anything she had felt in years. A warm blanket covered her thin body. Machines blinked beside her, checking her health, making sure she was okay. Hana Cho, the ship's medic, sat nearby. She had spent the last hour caring for the child, running tests, giving her water and food, treating the small cuts and bruises she had gathered over her years alone. Through it all, she spoke softly, explaining everything she did, making sure Lyra was not afraid. "You are a little thin," Hana said gently, "but you are strong. You took good care of yourself out there." Lyra looked up at her with those large silver eyes. "The machines helped. They made food and kept the air clean. Still, you had to be very brave, very clever. Not many children could survive alone for so long." Lyra clutched Tay against her chest. The teddy bear was worn and dirty, but she would not let anyone take him. Hana had not even tried. She understood. "Is the fighting over?" Lyra asked quietly. "It is over," Hana confirmed. "The bad ships are gone. They ran away. They will not come back." "Did people get hurt? Because of me?" Hana paused. She wanted to lie, to protect this child from guilt. But she could see in Lyra's eyes that the girl wanted truth, not comfort. Some people were hurt, Hana said honestly. Some did not survive. But Lyra, listen to me. They chose to come. They knew the risks. They came because they wanted to help you. They would not want you to feel bad about their choice. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. I did not want anyone to get hurt. I was so scared. I did not think anyone would really come. But we did. Hana reached out and gently touched the child's hand. That is what matters. You called for help. And we answered. That is what humans do. The door to the medical bay slid open. Captain Yuna Park walked in slowly. She had changed out of her battle uniform into simpler clothes. Her face looked tired, but her eyes were warm. May I come in? She asked softly. Hana stood up. Of course, Captain. Lyra, this is Captain Yuna Park. She is the one who brought everyone together to help you. Lyra stared at the captain with something like awe. This was the person who had saved her. This was the woman who had crossed the stars to answer her call. Yuna pulled a chair close to the bed and sat down. For a moment, she simply looked at the child. So small, so fragile, so incredibly brave. Hello, Lyra, she said. I am very happy to meet you. Hello, Lyra whispered. Thank you. Thank you for coming. You do not need to thank me. You asked for help. That is all it took. Lyra looked down at Tay. He was scared too. I told him someone might come. I was not sure, but I hoped. Yuna smiled. He is a very good friend to have. What is his name? Tay. I found it in the books that came with him. I think it is a word from Earth. It is. It is a name, a human name. Lyra's eyes widened. A name? Like a person? Yes. Tay is a name that humans give to their children. Someone on Earth made that bear and sent it out into the universe, hoping it would find someone who needed a friend. It found you. Lyra hugged the bear tighter. Why? Why would someone make a toy for a child they would never meet? Yuna thought about the question. It was simple, but the answer was not easy to put into words. Because humans believe in kindness, she said finally. We believe that every child deserves to be happy. Even children. We will never know. Even children far across the stars. So we make things, and we send them out, and we hope they find their way to someone who needs them. Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked the question that had been burning in her heart. Why did you come? Really? I am not human. I am not one of your people. Why did you risk so much for me? Yuna leaned forward. She looked into the child's silver eyes and spoke from her heart. Because a long time ago, humans learned something important. We learned that the universe is big and dark and often cruel. We learned that there are things out here that want to hurt and destroy. And we learned that the only way to fight that darkness is to be light. She gestured around the ship. Every person who came today made a choice. They chose to believe that one life matters, one child matters. They chose to cross dangerous space and fight terrible enemies because a scared little girl asked for help. She reached out and gently touched Lyra's hand. That is what humanity is, Lyra. We do not calculate the value of a life before deciding to save it. We do not ask if someone deserves our help. We just help. Because that is who we are. That is who we want to be. Lyra's tears fell freely now. I have been alone for so long. I thought no one would ever come. I thought I did not matter. You matter, Yuna said firmly. You matter to everyone on this ship. You matter to everyone in this fleet. 500 ships came for you, Lyra. Thousands of people. You matter more than you know. Lyra reached out with her small hand and touched Yuna's face, just as she had touched Unji's in the station. She was checking again, making sure this was real, making sure she was not dreaming. What happens now? She asked. Where will I go? Yuna had been thinking about this since the battle ended. She had no orders, no protocol. Just a child who needed a home. Where do you want to go? She asked. Lyra looked confused. I I do not know. I do not have anywhere. Everyone I knew is gone. Yuna made a decision. Perhaps she had made it the moment she first heard Lyra's voice. Perhaps she had made it when she saw the teddy bear in the child's arms. It did not matter when, it only mattered that it felt right. Would you like to come with me? She asked. To live with humans? To be part of a family? Lyra's eyes went wide. A family? You mean, you would take me? You would keep me? If you want. I know, I am not your mother. I know we are different. But I would take care of you. I would protect you. I would make sure you are never alone again. Lyra looked at Tay. She looked at Hana, who was smiling through tears in the corner. She looked back at Yuna. You would really do that? For me? I would. For a long moment, Lyra did not speak. Then, slowly, she reached out and wrapped her thin arms around Yuna's neck. She held on tight, as if afraid the captain might disappear. Yes, she whispered. Yes, please, I want to stay with you. I want to be part of your family. Yuna held the child close. She felt Lyra's small body shaking with sobs. She felt the teddy bear pressed between them. She felt something in her own heart that she had not felt in a long time. Then it is decided, she said softly. Welcome home, Lyra. Outside the medical bay, word spread through the ship. The captain had adopted the child. The little girl they had all come to save would have a home. Across the fleet, people smiled. Some laughed, some cried. They had come for a rescue. They had given a child something even more precious. They had given her a family. And somewhere deep in space, on a forgotten station that would soon be salvaged and forgotten, an empty crate sat in a cargo bay. The words Earth, humanitarian aid, were still visible on its side. The teddy bear it had carried was now in the arms of a little girl who would never be alone again. Sometimes, kindness traveled farther than anyone could imagine. The Galactic Council chamber was vast. Its walls curved upward like the inside of a great shell. Covered in symbols from 100 different species, floating platforms held delegates from across the known universe. Their shapes were strange and varied. Some had scales. Some had feathers. Some had no solid form at all. This was where the great powers met to discuss trade, war, and the future of civilizations. This was where decisions were made that affected billions of lives. And today, they were asking questions about humans. Commander Taeho Shin stood at the speaker's platform, wearing his formal uniform. Behind him, on a smaller platform, stood Lyra. She was dressed in new clothes now, clean and warm. She held Tae in one arm and Hana's hand in the other. Her silver eyes were wide as she looked at the enormous chamber. The Talori delegate spoke first. His species was ancient and proud, known for their long memories and careful calculations. We have received reports of human fleet movements in the Valen Expanse, he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. 500 vessels crossed into contested space without authorization. They engaged Skrell raiders and destroyed their forces. We demand an explanation. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Other delegates leaned forward, curious and suspicious. Taeho remained calm. I will explain. But first, may I ask the council a question? Taeho. The Talori delegate seemed surprised. You may ask. Thank you. Taeho looked around the chamber. How many of you, upon hearing that a child was in danger, sent ships to help? Silence. The distress call was transmitted on open channels. Any species with receivers in that sector would have heard it. A child. Alone. Begging for rescue. Raiders approaching. Certain death awaiting her. Taeho paused. How many of you responded? More silence. Some delegates shifted uncomfortably. None. Taeho continued. None of you came. The Talori did not come. The Vashran did not come. The Malorans, the child's own people, did not come. Only humans came. The Vashran delegate, a being of flowing water contained in a shimmering field, spoke up. The Valen Expanse is dangerous territory. The risk was too great for a single child. Was it? Tejo asked. Was the risk too great? Let me tell you what humans think about risk. He stepped forward, his voice growing stronger. When we heard that message, when we heard a frightened child asking for help, we did not calculate risk. We did not weigh costs and benefits. We did not debate whether one life was worth the danger. We simply went. He gestured to Lyra. This is Lyra. She is 6 years old. She spent 3 cycles alone on a dying station after raiders killed her parents. She had no food but what machines could make. She had no company but a teddy bear she found in a crate. She sent a message into the void, not knowing if anyone would hear. Not knowing if anyone would care, his voice softened, and 500 human ships answered. Not because we were ordered. Not because we would gain something. But because that is what we do. When someone calls for help, we answer. The chamber was quiet. The delegates watched and listened. The Talori delegate spoke again, but his tone was different now, less demanding, more curious. Your people risked war. You entered territory claimed by others. You attacked vessels without sanction from any authority. These are serious violations. Number 2. They are, Tejo agreed. And if the Council wishes to punish us, we will accept the consequences. But I want you to understand something first. He looked directly at the Talori. We did not come to start a war. We did not come to claim territory. We came because a child was scared and alone and asked for help. That is all. That is everything. He turned slowly, addressing the entire chamber. You ask why we came. You want to know what we gained. The answer is nothing. We gained nothing material. We lost 3 ships. We lost good people. We spent resources we could have used elsewhere. By any rational measure, it was a poor decision. He smiled slightly. But humans are not always rational. We are sometimes foolish. We are sometimes reckless. We care about things that do not make sense. We believe in ideas that cannot be measured. He placed his hand over his heart. We believe that every life has value. We believe that children should be protected. We believe that when someone reaches out in the darkness, someone should reach back. We believe that kindness matters, even when it costs us. He lowered his hand. That is what humanity is. That is why we came. Not for power. Not for glory. Not for advantage. We came because a little girl was afraid, and she asked for help, and we heard her. The chamber remained silent. The delegates looked at each other. Some seemed confused. Some seemed thoughtful. A few seemed moved. Then something unexpected happened. Lyra stepped forward. She was tiny compared to the vast chamber, a small figure on a floating platform surrounded by beings from across the galaxy. But she raised her chin and spoke in her small, clear voice. I was alone for a very long time, she said. I thought no one would come. I thought I did not matter. But the humans came. They did not know me. They had never seen me. But they came anyway. She held up Tay. Someone from Earth made this bear. They sent it across the stars. They hoped it would help someone. It helped me. It was my friend when I had no one else. Tears glistened in her silver eyes. The humans are strange. They do things that do not make sense. They came to save me even though I was nobody. They adopted me even though I am not like them. They call me family even though we are different. She looked around the chamber. I do not understand them completely. But I know they are kind. They are good. They care about little people like me. And I think the galaxy would be better if everyone was a little more like them. She fell silent. The chamber was still. Then, slowly, from one of the upper platforms, a sound began, a rhythmic tapping. The Maloran delegate, an elder with white-blue skin and tired eyes, was striking her platform with her hand. A sign of respect among her people. Another delegate joined in. Then another. The sound spread through the chamber like a wave. Dozens of species, in their own ways, showing approval, showing understanding. The Talori delegate raised his hand for silence. The chamber quieted. The council will not pursue action against the human fleet, he announced. What happened in the Valen Expanse was unique. Perhaps there are things we can learn from this. He looked at Lyra. Child, you have found a good family. May you thrive among them. End quote. Tejo bowed his head. Thank you. Months later, Lyra stood on the balcony of a small house on a human colony world. The sky was blue, with streaks of orange as the sun set. Trees rustled in a gentle breeze. Birds sang songs she was still learning to recognize. Yuna came out and stood beside her. She had retired from active service to raise her new daughter. They lived simply now. Peacefully. What are you thinking about? Yuna asked. Lyra held Taya against her chest. The bear was clean now, his fur brushed, his eyes shining. But he was still the same friend who had kept her company in the darkness. I am thinking about the day you came, Lyra said. About all those ships. All those people. I still do not understand why they came for me. Yuna smiled. You may never fully understand. But you do not have to. You just have to know that you were worth it. You are always worth it. Lyra leaned against her mother. I will never forget them. The pilots. The soldiers. The engineers. Everyone who came. Neither will I. They stood together, watching the sunset. A human woman and an alien child. Different in so many ways. But family in all the ways that mattered. Far across the galaxy, the story spread. The tale of 500 warriors who crossed the stars for a single child. It became legend. It became a lesson. It became a reminder of what was possible when people chose kindness over calculation. And in schoolrooms on 100 different worlds, children learned about the humans who heard a call and answered. Who risked everything for someone they had never met. Who proved that the universe was not just darkness and danger, but also light and hope. Lyra grew up strong and kind. She never forgot where she came from. She never forgot the teddy bear that kept her company in the darkness. And she never forgot the lesson she learned from the humans who saved her. When someone calls for help, you answer. All of you. Every time.